Hello friends, 2022 question paper, we have completed it. If you have not watched it, go and watch those 5 videos. It will definitely increase your confidence, it will boost your confidence. You will get a new perspective of how to approach questions of UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, and they are not magic tricks per se, they are the application of common sense, application of your own knowledge. So, and having a kind of fluid intelligence which is being tested through these papers, because prelims is test of knowledge, but it is also test of other qualities, because the purpose of this examination is to not recruit experts but to recruit people who can withstand pressure, people who can apply common senses, apply the knowledge that they have gained through their education on solving the problems of society. So because of these values that they want to test from you, the question paper is so designed that this question paper also wants to test the similar qualities. We will start from 2021 question paper set A. Just watch this complete video, surely you will boost your marks. So we will see the question number 2. With reference to casual workers employed in India, consider the following statements. First is, all casual workers are entitled for Employees Provident Fund coverage, EPF coverage. All casual workers. We will read second statement. All casual workers are entitled for regular working hours and overtime payment. Regular working hours and overtime payment. Okay. Third statement. The government can by a notification specify that an establishment or industry shall pay wages only through its bank account. Now we will analyze. The first statement says that all are entitled for EPF coverage, which seems a bit of overstatement. EPF, if you are aware, we have different kinds of pension schemes, different kinds of schemes launched by our government, like Shram Yogi Mandhan, NPS. Then we have Laghu for Laghu Udyog. We have some other schemes. So why the government has so many schemes? Because all the casual workers are not getting into the umbrella of EPF or the NPS, so they are targeting through various schemes. Now, second statement, always remember while you are reading the schemes, if the scheme is linked directly with the Constitution of India, with the ideas enshrined in the Constitution of India, like regular working hours and overtime payment, is directly taken from the living wage and the working condition given in the directive principle of state policy. So yeah, government can issue these guidelines. Third is, government can by a notification specify that an establishment or industry shall pay wages only through its bank account. Yes, government can give directives to like increase digital transaction, digital banking. Government has wide powers. Government can issue certain notifications which will enable financial inclusion of the welfare of laborers. So the answer was B, but many of the students directly went and started choosing 1, 2 and 3, option D. First of all, they try to use elimination method by thinking that all is used, so both the statements should be incorrect. But there was no only 3 option, so it created a confusion. But you have to apply the understanding of constitution, understanding of what government can do for the social welfare. If a futuristic statement is given which can ensure welfare by the government, is generally correct. Law and government has a role to initiate a social change. Now we will see the question number 3. Which among the following steps is most likely to be taken at the time of an economic recession? Economic recession का मतलब है there is a kind of slowdown, consecutive quarters. Now if there is a slowdown, government will want to pump money, increase the money supply, so that, and also the investment, so that there is creation of employment, there is creation of credit, so that economy can again come from a standstill to a kind of boost. So the first statement is option A is cut in tax rates accompanied by increasing interest rate. If we are cutting tax rate, yeah, if we are earning like 30,000, tax rate is 10%. If the tax rate is reduced to 5%, we will have more money to spend. So it is correct. But increase in interest rate will make the loans costlier. So this is wrong. Option B is increase in expenditure on public projects. If government is increasing the expenditure on public projects, it will create employment. It will give a boost to the economy. So this can be right. C is, see, even if you find a correct option, don't choose it. Don't straight away go and start marking OMR, because the question is asking most likely to be taken at the time of an economic recession. So in such question where such adjectives are used, always read all the four options. C is increase in tax rates accompanied by reduction of interest rate. Tax rate अगर increase होगा, then there will be less disposable income, so it is wrong. Option D is reduction of expenditure on public projects. It is also wrong. So the correct answer is B. Be cautious. Always be cautious. I want to make you understand this concept. Consider the following statements. Other things remaining unchanged, market demand for a good might increase if. First statement is price of its substitute increases. Say for example, we have salt, and we have a company named Patanjali and Tata. If Patanjali price of salt increases, naturally people will go towards Tata salt, and the Tata salt demand will increase. Second statement is price of its complement increases. Complement is what? If to make iodized salt, iodine is needed. So if the iodine is a complement to iodized salt, if that price increases, then the price of the whole iodized salt will increase, and its demand will decrease, not increase. Its demand will decrease. The good is an inferior good, and income of the consumer increase. Inferior goods are like they are not something to show off, not something which is branded, not something which is given good or something which can be showcased. So if you are, so for example, your income increases, why you will spend more on inferior goods? You will start spending more on the expensive goods, so show off, which you can show off to the society. So this is also wrong. Its price falls. Yeah, general rule. If the price is falling for a good, like 20 rupees is there, and if it is if it becomes 14 rupees, then the demand may increase. So the correct answer is A, 1 and 4 only. We will see the questions which have certain kind of logic in that statement, or with the use of one statement we can find the correct answer. Like question number 7, consider the following: foreign currency convertible bonds, foreign institutional investment with certain conditions, okay, global depository receipts, non-residential external deposits. Now we will analyze any kind of deposit, if per se is. Do you think it will come in FDI? First thing should be first thing which should come in your mind is this: NRI deposits, are they coming in FDI? Because they are not part of this capital transaction. Deposits are never part of capital formation. Okay, the first is convertible bonds, investment, receipts, depository receipts. They create a kind of liability. If there is no not creation of asset or liability, then it doesn't come into the capital part. Okay, so the option for NRI deposits will be wrong, and with the use of this you can easily eliminate option C and option D, and you will be left with either A or B. And if you know that convertible bonds, FII, convertible bonds are those bonds which can be converted to equity. When certain things are converted to equity, then they are part of FDI. Up though they have merged the definitions also of FPI and FDI, so the interchangeable, they have become more interchangeable if you are aware about the current definitions which are being used by the government. This is again which I want to discuss. Consider the following statements. The effect of devaluation of a currency is that it necessarily improves the competitiveness of the domestic exports in the foreign markets. Necessarily is the key word. Competitiveness, how it increases? Competitiveness मतलब है कि if I was selling a jeans, say for example it was taking $2 in the United States of America, now it is taking say for example only $1. So my competitiveness of jeans produced in India has increased, because now I can compete with other jeans manufactured by other countries, China, Vietnam. So this will be true. Increase the foreign value of domestic currency, it is decreasing. Improve the trade balance. This is a far-fetched thing. Trade balance depends on lot many things, like if good is demanded or not, if certain other products are like you are dependent on some countries for some goods, but they are not dependent on your goods. So there are many ifs and buts. When there are ifs and buts, then it is not necessarily. So the statement which is necessarily correct is first statement, and thus the answer is 1 only. Now again I will focus on things which have a certain kind of logic, like question number 11. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? Option A, increase in the cash reserve ratio in the bank. If CRR increases, then the credit creation will reduce. Why? Because bank has to put more money to the RBI, and that is not available for giving loans. If more loans are not given, then new money will not be created. Second statement is, option is increase in the SLR. If again SLR is increased, then again, even though it has to be kept with the bank itself, in the forms of golds, bonds, T-bills, etc., but still they cannot be given for loans. That is why it will also not increase the money multiplier if you are increasing SLR. Third is increase in the banking habit of the people. That means more people are opening bank accounts, more people are doing bank transaction, more people are giving deposits, taking loans. Everything comes under the banking habit. So if this is increasing, then there is a chance that money multiplier will increase. Some people were confused with the option D, increase in the population of the country. If the population of the country has increased, but the banking habits remained same, then it will not have a positive impact on the money multiplier of economy. So always think that this will necessarily result into this. This implies this. If this is happening in each and every circumstances, then you can choose the option. Don't get confused. Now I will see the question number 14. Here also there is logic. With reference to water credit, consider the following statements. First is, it puts microfinance tools to work in the water and sanitation sector. Yes, it is possible. There is a statement credit, there is a word water. So microfinance is possible, and water and sanitation sector is also possible. So this option 1, there is a chance that it will be correct. So with this logic, you can eliminate option B. If you are eliminating one option, straight away cut cut that so that you don't get confused, you don't spend extra 10 to 20 seconds. Second statement, it is a global initiative launched under the aegis of World Health Organization and World Bank, WHO and World Bank. Okay, we will keep on hold. It aims to enable the poor people to meet their water needs without depending on subsidies. Subsidies are given by government, and if something of microfinance is given, something credit which is given by through other means is given, then this meets that subsidy which is needed from government. Dependency on that is being reduced. These both the statements seem logical. So now I will eliminate another option which is not including third statement as correct. Now I am left with either C or D. Now here is a fact. Facts are easy to manipulate. I am not saying necessarily they are wrong, but if you have to take chance, you can take chance that this can be wrong. So you can, if you are entangled with a 50-50, so there I will say that make it 70-30. Make it 70-30, and you can take a calculated risk that this statement may be wrong, because facts are easy to manipulate. I'm not saying you without thinking you are just make it wrong, but if they are not logical, if you are not much aware about that, then they can be wrong. The question number 15 also had a catch. In India, the central banks function as the lender of last resort. Usually refers to which of the following? Lending to trade and industry bodies when they fail to borrow from other sources, providing liquidity to the banks having a temporary crisis, lending to government to finance budgetary deficit. And this is though not possible, this is not allowed, so just cut this C and D so that you have less options to think, and it definitely makes a difference. Lending to trade and industry bodies when they fail to borrow from other source. Lender of last resort, what does it mean? Banks have so many means to take money. They issue bonds, they play into the money market, they play into the equity market, they are taking money from us. So there is a lot of ways they are doing it. But when banks are in crisis, when the lender itself is in crisis, then they go and see the lender of last resort. Lenders का lender, सबसे बड़ा lender. So तो RBI के पास जाते हैं. अब इसमें जो है ट्रेड एंड इंडस्ट्री बॉडी when they fail to borrow, ये RBI has no onus to provide loans to industry and body when they are not getting loans from other sources. It is not the duty of RBI. They may provide some kind of scheme, some liquidity scheme time to time, but on the advice of the government. It's not the prerogative of the Reserve Bank of India. It is not the duty per se of the government, the Reserve Bank of India, but it is part of management of banks that RBI will do this. So option B is correct. Again, question number 16, R2 Code of Practices constitutes a tool available for promoting the adoption of, option A is environmentally responsible practices in electronic recycling industry. I had told you in the previous video as well, Code of Practices means do's and don'ts. So environmentally responsible practices in electronic recycling industries. Yes, practices, responsible practices, satisfying code. R2 is something which is making like R से recycle होता है and R2 is being used. So एक ये भी correlation बैठ रहा है. Ecological management of wetlands of international importance under the Ramsar Convention. No, it's not something related to codes. Sustainable practices in the cultivation of agricultural crops in degraded lands. Practices can be related to code, so we can put on hold option A and C. Option D is environmental impact assessment in the exploitation of natural resources. This is also not related to code of practices. So we are left with either A and C. If you are seeing that it is mentioning R2 code of R2, so some connection may be there with the recycle. So if you are confused between A and C, you can go with option A if you are applying common sense. This is part of calculated risk, without which no one can qualify prelims. See, this there in the question number 17, option D was not correct. So that does not mean that any of such options where there will be some kind of emission of gases will be wrong. No. Why is there a concern about copper smelting plants? This statement was wrong because they may release lethal quantities of carbon monoxide into environment. Lethal means something which can cause a big harm. So this was a kind of extreme worded statement. So you have to be cautious in such kinds of statements, and more so, such statements are mostly wrong. If there is if there are 10 questions, 7 will be wrong in some extremely worded statements. So you could have made this statement wrong, and you would have arrived at option B, that is 2 and 3 only. 19th question, there is a funny logic. What is a blue carbon? You would have listened to one song, Aaj Blue Hai Pani Pani, and there was a beach, and they had shown ocean, और वहीं से ये carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. So there is a straight correlation, such a funny thing you can remember, and you can solve this answer. The blue is related to oceans, so carbon captured by oceans and coastal ecosystem. This is the correct answer. Now question number 20. In the nature, which of the following is are most likely to be found surviving on a surface without soil? Fern, lichen, mosses, mushroom. Mushroom, if you have bought for making vegetable of, you have seen your mother, your father cooking mushroom. Mushroom जब लाते हैं, there is some soil जिसको हमें फिर वॉश करना पड़ता है मशरूम को. तो ये ऑप्शन जो ये 4 है, ये तो एकदम ही गलत है, इसको काटो. तो D gets eliminated, A gets eliminated. Now we are left with either B and C, and lichen and moses हमेशा एक साथ, they are used always together, lichen and moses. So ये हो गया, ठीक है. So the correct answer is C, 2 and 3. Complementary type है, they are used. कहीं भी पढ़ो. Okay, question number 22. Consider the following kinds of organisms: copepods, cyanobacteria, diatoms, foraminifera. So cyanobacteria किसको बोलते हैं? Cyanobacteria, the algae are called as cyanobacteria. Which of the above are primary producer in the food chains of ocean? And we know these algae are the phytoplanktons are the primary producers. They are also called as rainforests of the ocean. So this second will be correct for 100%, and that is why the option C and D gets eliminated. Now you're left with option A and B, and now you have to choose either option A or B. 50-50 though you can arrive. Question number 24. With reference to the New York Declaration of Forest, which of the following statements are correct? It was first endorsed at the United Nations Climate Summit in 2014. We don't know. It endorses a global timeline to end the loss of forest. Maybe. It is legally binding international declaration. Unless they are very well-known agreements, big agreements, they are not legally binding. Most of the time they are wrong. Less known conventions, agreements are most of the time they are not legally binding. So this is also a trick. 85% of the time this will work for sure. So if you make this third statement wrong, option B and C gets eliminated. You are left with 50-50. You have to choose either A or you have to choose B. You have to choose either this fact is right, India was one of the signatories at its inception, or it was endorsed at the United Nations Climate Summit in 2014. 50-50 has been left. Question number 25. Magnetite particles suspected to cause neurodegenerative problems are generated as environmental pollutants from which of the following? अगर आपको, if you know Hindi and you are not comfortable with these big words like neurodegenerative ये सब, तो तंत्रिका अपहास This is making even more difficult, but sometimes it makes life easier. So now we will see the options. Brakes of motor vehicles, engines of motor vehicles. Both the times motor is coming. तो ये तो सही होगा. This is also a trick. This is also a trick. So option 1 and 2 तो will be correct. So this C gets eliminated. Microwave stoves within homes. If it is neurodegenerative, such a big hazard it can cause, why it will be used in homes? Microwave stoves, why it will be used in homes if it has this kind of impact, this kind of hazardous impact? Why it will be used in homes? So third should be wrong. Third should be wrong. And when you make third wrong, you will arrive at the correct answer. I'm giving you another logic. Fourth option is power plants. In power plants, there are 50-60 processes are going on, and there is a chance that certain kind of pollutants may get released. So ऐसे कोई big processes होते हैं तो pollutants generally वहाँ से निकल जाते हैं. Generally they are getting released. ये भी एक trick है, apply there. So fourth तो सही होगा. इससे B पे आप arrive हो जाओगे. टेलीफोन लाइन्स पे आपको you don't have to think much. Question number 28, we will see which of the following are detritivores: earthworms, jellyfish, millipedes, seahorses, wood lice. Earthworms are detritivores. Everybody knows that. Option B, gaya. Jellyfish, fish. Okay, don't worry. Wood lice, lice, ticks. They are, if they have to derive energy, they have to depend on breaking the dead organic materials, etc. So wood lice and earthworms should be correct. If they both are correct, then we are left with C and D. A also gets eliminated. Now we have to think, seahorses are such a big animals. Fishes are also, they may eat phytoplankton. The small fishes are mostly dependent on phytoplankton. Then they're not per se taking, breaking this dead organic material, etc. So there is a chance that 2 and 4 are wrong. So with the use of this, we can arrive at the option C. So we have covered around 28 questions. 27 question was purely based on the knowledge. Like they had talked about weathering of rocks, and carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, they are all atmospheric things or atmospheric gases, but phosphorus is not. So it was the correct answer. So I will make more 3 videos and we'll cover all the questions of 2021. Hopefully these all videos will add value in your preparation. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.